So this past weekend on Saturday afternoon, the Governance Committee hosted a community gathering and discussion related to Indigenous governance.
We shared all the information with the community, um, and it was put in a form where they could understand it quite easily. I think it was quite successful. And to say, like, all the main players were there, so it might have not been big numbers, but the people that need to hear and spread the word to their families were there. It was basically our journey that we're taking right to this point, and it was all put down in point form by Dacia. It actually even looked amazing to me to realize how far we've come as a group in regards to our steps to making a government system for Kelly Lake First Nation.
So during the community meeting, we discussed the colonial legacy of the Indian Act and how band status and First Nation governance within Canada has historically been defined through the Indian Act.
Brings out the facts that our history right here in Kelly Lake is so deep ingrained, and Kelly Lake should have been a nation a long time ago, but as you know how it goes with politics, it's an oversight on the government, of course. And in regards to Kelly Lake itself, because it was a place to hide from the government itself, that played a factor in us not being recognized. The kids were hidden there from the 60 Scoop and so forth. And then the fact that we do have UNDRIP and United Nations backing up Aboriginal people to be heard. This is something the community really needed to understand, as well as Bill C-35 and as well as the Indian Act. Once you get a good understanding of what all that stuff is as a group, it'll really set your path as to how you want to govern your own community.
What went on in the meeting this weekend was we were talking about the differences between what we want to become. So if we want to become the Section 35 rights or treaty or Métis or whatever we want to become, that's what we were discussing. And we were just explaining the differences to everyone in the community. I believe we're going to put out a survey and ask what the community wants to see done and get all the feedback from every individual, and it's going to be anonymous. So I think that would help us immensely so we can move forward in the right direction.
So the next steps after this community meeting are to now look at Kelly Lake. So the focus of the next series of governance committee discussions and community gatherings and discussions are going to be related to the history and traditions of Kelly Lake as an Indigenous community, and how that history and how those traditions will inform the decisions around the structure and function of governance moving forward. We've, over the past couple of years, quite a lot from elders and knowledge holders in the community about what things have historically been like in Kelly Lake, how the community organized itself, how the community governed itself, how things were done, ownership was enacted. And so now that we've had the opportunity to have a long discussion about the business for Indigenous governance, we're going to start rooting that in Kelly Lake itself.
I feel really good about the direction that we are moving. I feel like everything's gonna get done in the amount of time that we have, and I feel like Kelly Lake will finally succeed.
It feels good, actually, and it looks like there's, from all what I see, is there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's looking very good for Kelly Lake First Nation.